Hi everybody, this is Boogass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new NECA Ultimate TMNT 2012 Cartoon Leonardo figure. So before we take a look at Leonardo, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the numerous accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with a set of open hands, and I'm going to be totally honest, switching these out is a nightmare. So what I did was I actually heated the figure up and sanded the joints down a little bit. You know, it sucks that I have to do that, but these, they feel really rubbery, like they'd split if too much force was put on them, which I still have to put a little bit of force into it, but not as much as if I didn't sand them down. Up next, he comes with a set of fisted hands. Up next, he comes with these gesturing hands. Up next, he comes with accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with a slice of pizza. All of the 2012 turtles come with a slice of pizza. It looks like it's just regular cheese and pepperoni, which is my favorite way to eat a pizza. Up next, he comes with the turtle calm, and he can kind of hold it in these accessory holding hands. It is kind of a wide accessory, so if you want him to be able to hold his swords properly, you won't want to get this all the way in his hand. Up next, he comes with this smoke bomb. And man, this is such a tiny accessory. And again, you really can't get it in his hand properly. If you stretched his hand out completely, you could definitely do that. We definitely needed another set of open hands to hold his wider accessories. That way we wouldn't stretch these hands out too much. Up next, he comes with the Microvision Omni Disintegrator. And this is actually detailed really nicely. I love the way that they printed this silver over top of the weapon, making it look like it's worn. I love the paint detail on that. That just looks really awesome. Up next, he comes with his swords, and I really like the detail on these. I especially love how they did the outline of the light gray on the edge of the swords. That looks very awesome, and as long as you don't stretch his hands out, he can actually hold these very well. The only bad thing about this is you can't actually get them in the sheaths properly. So for some reason, this one is really scuffed up. It was discolored before I even put the sword in. So with this one, it won't even go in. The hole is way too tiny for this. So you can see that the tip won't even go in. So that's really irritating. With this one, I was actually able to get it in, but it won't go in all the way. So this one actually will go in, and the right side won't go in at all. So that is very irritating. And finally, he comes with an alternate head sculpt. Now, this head did not want to come off at all, so I actually heated it up and started to Dremel the joint down a little bit, and it still kind of doesn't want to come off here. And you can see where the joint kind of broke off there. I honestly didn't expect that to happen while I was Dremeling it down, which I guess it's kind of a good thing it did it, because now it makes switching these heads out a little more easy, I say as I struggle to get this head on. Okay, had to make a little cut there so I could actually get this on. So the alternate head sculpt is a closed eyes head sculpt. And this head sculpt isn't bad, but I really wish they would have given us a head sculpt with pupils. You know, I think it was a really big missed opportunity to have a head that actually had pupils. But yeah, instead they give us this one. And honestly, I'm probably never going to use this head sculpt, if I'm being honest. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at his main head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I do like this head sculpt. I do think it looks really nice. I just definitely would have preferred a more neutral head sculpt for his regular head. You know, at least have his pupils, because all of the other turtles in this wave have pupils. So it's really weird that he has just the wide eyes. Wide eyes or closed eyes. So while I do like this head sculpt, I do think it is a big bummer that he didn't have pupils. One of the things that I do like about this figure, though, it's more subtle on his head, but he actually has these little dots on his skin painted on. I think that's a really nice touch. It gives his skin some variation like he had in the cartoon. You can see the little dots all over him, and that looks really nice. I honestly think this design translates really well to figure form. It's just because of the way they're designed, these joints feel really brittle. You know, I've taken the figure apart, I heated it up, took it apart, sanded some parts down, and now he can move really well, but I honestly shouldn't have had to do that. I honestly had a problem, at least one QC issue in terms of like the joints on every figure in this wave, and that does suck. I had to take all the hands and sand them down, all of the ball pegs for the necks there and sand down, and I even had to sand his ankle joints down right here, because they didn't want to move at all. they were just entirely stuck. So I had to heat it up, take it apart, and then sand the peg down right here. And now he has perfect articulation. But I shouldn't have had to do that in the first place. So now let's move on to some positives, since I've listed quite a few negatives in this review already. So I love the sculpt detail to the belt right here. That texturing is incredible. It's cast in a light brown color and has a black wash over top of that. And man, that brings the detailing out so well. I like how you can see some little scratches and some little pieces missing out of his belt that's sculpted on there. That looks very awesome. That is really, really detailed. You get some black paint to the wrappings on his sheaths right here. And judging from the collar up here, it looks like the inside is white. I think it might be cast in white plastic for some reason. Not sure why it's like that. You get some really, really awesome detailing on his shell here. You get some really cool textures and some battle damage like the little scuffs and stuff on the shell, as well as some printed on variation outlining his shell, this light green color. And that looks very nice. I love the detail on all the shells of the turtles. You also get some painted on wear to the front of his shell right here. Very vibrant colors. He has some really cool sculpt detail to the wrappings and the bandages on his fingers. On top of having black paint in between the wrappings right here, you also get a dark brown wash over that. I think it's like a cream color. So that's detailed really nicely. You get a black wash over top of his elbow and knee pads. And you get a ton of sculpt detail on these knee pads. You get the textures, the little scratches and everything on there. That looks very, very nice. And I'm especially happy with the wrappings here on his feet. It is textured so well. It's textured really nicely. It has the black painted on lines right here, and then a dark brown wash over top of that. And that brings the detailing out very, very nicely. You can see some more of those specks that's painted on his skin. For some reason, his joints are cast in an entirely different green color than the rest of him. You can see since I've posed the figure around that the joints have started chipping away, and it's a much darker color that he's cast in. I don't know why companies cast the joints in different colors than they're cast in. And then you can see that even the bottoms of his feet are detailed. They still have that black wash as well as the black paint in between. That looks really nice. So now, let's go ahead and go over his articulation. So he has a ball jointed head that can look up all the way. He can look down all the way. He can move his head side to side and around very nicely. The mask tie is articulated, so you can swivel that all the way around. Now he has shoulder joints, but these joints right here that go down into the bicep are so thin that it feels like they're going to snap when you move his arms out. So you kind of want to place your finger and thumb on the top and bottom of the shoulder right here. That way you can get it up. Now on this one, man, this one is the one that feels like it's going to snap the most. You can see that I think the joint is already starting to break. There's a bit of gappage there, and it's kind of leaning down like that. So that is very unfortunate. He has a swivel at the bicep that sounds pretty tight. He has double jointed elbows that can bend in that far, and these move kind of freely. Now that I've started posing him around, you can see how it kind of wants to move back down. And I think that's because of how thin the joints are right there. He has wrists that can spin all the way around and move up and down. He has a ball joint down here in the diaphragm. It can move forward and back actually more than I thought he'd be able to. But it's pretty tight, so it makes that noise. Can't really move side to side that much. Oh man, he has ball jointed hips. Let's see. They can only move out that far. He can kick forward, and that's kind of pushing it right there. He can't kick back all the way. He has an excellent thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can actually move all the way back. Ankles that can move down all the way, up just a little bit, and an ankle rocker that actually moves now. If I hadn't have heated that up and shaved this joint down a little bit, it wouldn't have moved at all. So yeah, the articulation is pretty decent, but man, all of these joints feel so fragile, and I had to sand down a lot of the joints just to get them to be able to move. You know, that's pretty unfortunate. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up here he is next to the OG cartoon version of himself. Here he is next to the Mirage version of himself. And finally, here he is next to the live-action version of himself. So overall, I think NECA did a fantastic job at sculpting this figure. It looks like it stepped straight out of the cartoon. I think those cartoon designs honestly translate really well into figure form. The problem is, because of the way they're designed, the joints end up feeling really brittle. You know, the way they're designed just doesn't feel like the joints are going to withstand the test of time or posing them around very much. I've been posing him around, and you can see the left shoulder there. It's getting a bunch of gappage because I think the joint's getting ready to snap. So while this figure looks great, it feels incredibly fragile. And all of these figures do. You know, I haven't had too much time to mess around with the other turtles yet, or Shredder. Well, actually, Shredder feels the most durable. But yeah, all of the turtles feel incredibly fragile. So I think this line is off to a bit of a shaky start with this first figure here. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.